Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I am making yet another Funko Pop. These have returned and they're coming back with a vengeance. I am actually trying out a brand new sort of clay stuff that I've been wanting to try for my Funkos to see if it works really good. And yeah, we're going to try that out. So the character we are making today is actually for a commission. This guy is named Berzerker and he's from the Fate Stay / Night anime. I don't actually know this character per se, however my client really wanted this as a Funko Pop, so of course I'm going to oblige. So as per usual, I am starting off with these DIY Funko bases. These are amazing because they have no details or anything like that. And to start off, I actually have to make a few modifications. As you can see, I have cut off his arms. This is so that I can better access his body and of course his arms for this stuff that I'm going to use to sculpt on top of. Now the stuff I'm actually using to sculpt today is Apoxie Sculpt. This is actually an epoxy sort of clay type thing. It comes in two parts and you have to mix these parts equally together to form a clay that is going to harden by itself. Now this is great because you don't have to oven cure it or anything like that. However, of course, you do have to be mindful that it is going to take about 24 hours to completely harden. So you have to sort of mix it up in small portions. Now when mixing this stuff, it is actually very important to wear gloves when you're doing this, especially when you're holding the sort of raw unmixed medium, because this stuff can actually cause irritant in your skin and it can actually sort of cause some health issues, and you really got to be careful when you're handling epoxy stuff. So I definitely recommend using gloves, at least when you are mixing the stuff, because that's when I'm actually pretty glad that I read the sort of instructions on the container before I actually dived into using the art supply. Definitely read labels of things, you will be very thankful. Now first impressions with this clay is actually pretty good. This stuff is really nice to sculpt with. It is slightly different to polymer clay, as I have mentioned, but the sort of consistency of it is a little bit different too. This is sort of more sticky, which is great when you're using it to stick to a surface like a Funko base, but it's also a bad thing because it will stick to your tools and stuff. And it will stick to your hands quite frequently too. That's why I actually have a little sort of thing of water next to me. You can't actually see it in the video, but I have a little sort of thing of water and I'm dipping my tools into that to keep them wet, and also my fingers occasionally too. And this is to stop the tools from sticking to the clay. And speaking of tools, I actually read that metal tools are better for this stuff than the wood tools, of course, because, you know, less sticking and stuff like that. So I did end up buying some metal tools. Now, other than those little changes to my sort of methods, the process is actually quite the same as my other Funkos. I add in different, you know, sections that I want to change, and I remove sections that I, you know, want to remove from the base. As you can see, I have added in some really nice muscles on this guy. He's got a bit of a six-pack. As you can see, he's quite a buff, burly bloke. But yeah, I added that on there, and I actually really like the way that's turning out because it is a lot more detailed than muscles that I have previously added in some of. And I really like that this stuff, you don't have to bake it to cure it, because I was able to add some muscles here and there. And then I sort of just waited a bit until that hardened before I added in some cloves over the top around his waist. And as well as that, I also added in sections of hair. As you can see, we've got some hair on here, and he's slowly coming together. I had to spend a lot of time on that hair because it was a little bit crazy. But yeah, it was quite useful for me to wait until each section was cured and dry before moving on to another one. As you can see, I sort of have to keep a firm grip on this guy because this clay is actually quite heavy compared to the polymer clay. It is a little bit more dense, so I really don't want to drop it and break it or anything like that. But having that sort of clay cure before I, you know, move on to a different section is quite useful because I really didn't want to, you know, grab a hold of the head and squish all the perfectly placed locks of hair. But yeah, this was actually a little bit of a downfall as well because obviously I couldn't just bake it and let it cool down, and that meant that I had to sometimes wait 24 hours after I added a small amount of detail to be able to move on to the next detail. So there's pros and cons to this sort of method. Now, as you can see at the start, this character does have a huge, sharp looking sword, and I definitely wanted to include that into the artwork, of course. So here I am making the sword, and I actually made the sword in two parts because it has an interesting sort of texture on the blade, and I really didn't want to squish it when I was working on either side. So I had to sort of build one half of the sword, let it cure completely, and then the next day come back and build the other side. Now, after I got that sword connected to one of his arms, and I definitely made sure to connect it to the right arm because I didn't want to make him a left-hander accidentally, or right-hander, I can't remember which one he is. Yeah, after I did that, I ended up connecting the arms back onto the shoulders, and I actually added a little bit more weight into those shoulders, as you can see, and that really did sort of emphasize his muscles and make him look a little bit more aggressive in his pose. And of course I was able to change the way his arms are holding as well. As you can see, one's more forward and one's more backward. I really wanted to connect the sword and have it coming out in front of him. However, with the sheer size of the sword and all of that, it did kind of add a little bit of a weight issue, that he was a little bit unbalanced, so I had to sort of change it up a little bit and make him hold his sword to the side. Now, after all of that was finally done and dusted, it is time to give him a new fancy paint job. Now, of course, I'm going to be using a primer with this stuff, as I want the paint to lay down really nice and look good. So I'm using a sort of gesso. This one's a really nice one. It is a Liquitex one, and it's quite smooth, but still adds a nice foundation for me to paint on the top of with my acrylic paint. He has a really nice sort of earthy color palette, this guy, so I'm starting off with some black and some grey for the hair, as well as some skin tones and a little bit of silver and stuff for the metallic parts on him. And yeah, this part is one of my favorite bits of creating Funkos, is finally adding in the color and watching it come to life. And I really love adding details and stuff as well. The painting really does bring out some really nice sort of looks for these guys. So without further ado, let's dive into the painting.
Take it now, no you're never gonna break me. I'ma stay loud in the face of the hate. See, I'ma speak out, take the muzzle off my face. Breathe out of my mouth every word that will make me. Never had a doubt of the life that I'm making. Never had a doubt of the fight I'll be facing. Never had a doubt of the nights I'll be aching. Life is all about having dreams that you're chasing. With me now, I'll leave your ass in the street. Now, I'll put your ass underneath ground. I'll bury you 6 feet deep now. And you better stay down. Get the hell out of my way now. It doesn't matter what you say now. I'm gonna take hold of fate now. I'm the type of dude who will not remain nameless. I'm the type of dude who is headed for greatness. I'm the type of dude who could really make changes. Cause I'm the type of dude that's becoming contagious. I'm the type of dude that will always be ageless. I'm the type of dude that will always feel shameless. I'm the type of dude that they say is fucking heinous. Cause I'm the type of dude that you know is fucking dangerous.
So here is the final result of this guy, and I absolutely love the way he looks. He looks badass. I love the details, and the Apoxie Sculpt was really fun to work with some minor changes to my usual methods. It worked pretty good, and I think this stuff is actually quite stronger than the polymer clay, so I feel like I'm giving a better quality and stronger product to my clients. And yeah, I hope my client is very happy with this. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please smash like and subscribe and check out my other art videos. I make a lot of different kinds of art videos and I have a lot of fun making them. So I hope you all have a lovely day. Please stay safe out there and I'll see you in my next video. Bye everyone.